What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. We're going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward, what's going on with other pieces of news involving the markets, and what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I begin the double this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below in the description. If you sign up for Moon, deposit $100, you are guaranteed 7 free stocks. The offer is very soon, just about 11 days. Anyways, for NIO right now, we're seeing this thing actually seeing this little drop right here towards this $5 area. And this is actually forming a bullish divergence in the process. Now, with this forming, there's actually a chance that NIO could attempt to rebound because we got a little liquidity grab down here. But the question is, what's happening for the week for the markets? What's going on with other factors? I'll be breaking those down before I talk about why NIO could actually bounce a bit. So for today, we just had basically nothing too crazy coming out, just a couple of Fed speakers that end up speaking, like Waller and another one. That's pretty much it. For Saturday, we have basically Kugler giving a speech. Then we have Jerome Powell giving a speech on Sunday. So we'll see what that causes for the markets. It could cause the market to actually kind of gap up a little bit. And then after that, we'll see what the reaction is for Monday and Tuesday because we have a bunch of Fed speakers. We have Bostic, Barr, Waller, Jefferson, and a bunch of these Fed speakers on Monday. And also the same thing going on Tuesday. So that might cause some contractions in the market, some little moves here and there. And then for Wednesday, we have the FOMC minutes. So that's going to be very important, at least for the Fed's policies, not to mention more data on PMI on Thursday. So we have quite a bit of data coming out. We have a lot of speeches from the Fed early on during the week. And then during the middle of the week, we have the FOMC minutes. Going into what's going on with our earnings calendar, let me make this very, very clear that for Monday, we have Wix announcing earnings and a few others, not to mention Palo Alto Network and a few more. And then for Tuesday, we have more retail such as AutoZone, Lowe's, Macy's, and the list goes on. Nothing too crazy, nothing out of the ordinary. But remember, for NIO, we have XPeng announcing earnings on Tuesday. This could affect NIO to some extent because a lot of these projections could actually affect one another for the Chinese sector. And then for Wednesday, we have a very important day. We have Target, TJ Maxx, and a few others announcing earnings in the morning. And then after the market closes, we have Nvda, the one and only Nvidia announcing its earnings. This will be a make or break for the market. It could shake the whole market, so make sure you're prepared for this. That's going to be very, very pivotal for whether or not the market continues to push. Then we have more earnings for Thursday and Friday, so I'll be watching to see how things look, especially for guidance for these other retailers. Now, for other pieces of data, the Chinese FAW wants to join the NIO Battery Swap Alliance. That's some good news for them because we're seeing a lot more interest and a lot more talk about robotics getting developed to help develop the technology. That's great news for them because battery swapping is very important for them. And NIO is developing its own version of FSD, so I think that's going to be very helpful. And the cloud service business will be very, very useful as well for this sector. So once again, they're planning on adding 1,000 new battery swap stations this year. They currently have about 2,400 stations in China, and more of them are going to continue to grow. And they also mentioned that in the future, they want to have over 10,000 swap stations, which will give them a bigger edge. And they want that to support over 10 million vehicles moving forward. On top of this, I just wanted to call out that for the way things are looking in China, we're starting to see more and more alliances being made. And that's actually very important, at least for the sector as a whole, because as NIO gains more and more leverage, this will help them grow even more. Tencent Holdings is reducing the NIO stake as it sells about 28.4 million shares. That's part of why the share price has actually dipped a bit. So we will see if there are any more changes, at least moving forward from here. On top of this, I just want to call out that the growth that NIO is experiencing is very, very interesting and very, very useful for it moving forward. So we'll have to see how this ends up developing over time and what other developments we see. But with this happening, there are some companies that aren't as confident in NIO. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys because of what's happening with the EV sector as a whole. Despite the fact that Tencent holds about 100 million shares, they did actually sell about 28 million of them, and we'll have to see if there are any more changes because of that. They still have a 4.9% stake in the company, so they're still holding quite a bit, but they did reduce their position to some extent. Could this be because of negative sentiment or anything else like that? It's possible, but that is a-okay since they're still holding the majority of them. For NIO moving forward, they basically announced their new SUV, the Envoy L60, so that's great news for them. It was kind of like a pump and dump event, buy the rumors, sell the news event. 60 million was volume, very close to average. And then on top of this, JP Morgan has upgraded NIO from an underweight to a neutral rating just a few days ago, so that's good news for them. There's also talk right here about the price price ratio kind of dipping a little bit as NIO is not as strong as before. And Tuesdays and Wednesdays tend to be stronger days for the company as a whole in terms of its share price. So that being said, what's going on with the share price? In my personal opinion, we could be forming an accumulation right over here as we're starting to see some buyers kind of holding their positions. And I think there is potential for us to try to get back above the 50 EMA to push for about 5.5. So I think that this thing could actually bounce a little bit. We'll have to see for confirmation if we do end up seeing buyers defend. For support, I'd be watching basically 5.26 and then also our next support around this $5 area just to see how things end up holding. But I personally believe that this thing has potential to hold up very, very well, and this could actually lead to a big shift. So I think that we might end up seeing a little bit of a dip before we try to rebound. I think that there is potential for us to get that move. And then that's going to be very, very key for how things end up moving. So we watch to see if more buyers step in, they try to defend and get us back above our 50 EMAs, and then we'll see what ends up happening after that. So I think that NIO could try to rebound going into next week and try to retest at least 5.5. If we break that, we could try to fill parts of this imbalances, try to get back up to about 5.66. So I do anticipate a little bounce towards at least 5.5. For other details, as far as SPY goes, we actually closed in a very, very interesting note. It looks to me like SPY could actually push a little bit higher with Jerome Powell's speech coming, but we'll be watching to see how it reacts to this imbalance fill in this 530 area. If we push a little bit higher and hit 530, if we get a rejection here, we could actually dip back down lower one more time before we continue. But if we manage to break the high over here, then this uptrend could just continue. We could just continue to break all-time highs. So it depends on what Jerome Powell says. I do think SPY is going to try to actually bounce a little bit, but watch to see if we establish a lower high or not. So look for a little bit more upside and see if we get a rejection or not. That's going to be key for the way we end up moving. For the QQQ, we have a bullish divergence being established right here. I think we might attempt to rebound a bit just like SPY, so we could actually be retesting 452 to 453. Might come up just a little bit and then see if we get a rejection or not, so I'll be waiting for that. But I do expect a little push to be coming, and we'll see what the reaction is once we get that move. Tesla looks a little bit more bullish. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders. There is potential for us to go all the way up to fill this imbalance to about 180 plus. So I think we might be testing 180. We'll see if we get a rejection off that or not. But overall, the structure is more bullish. There's also a very nice inverse head and shoulders like structure here that could lead to even more upside and a push for 185 plus. So the share price of Tesla is favoring bulls a bit more. For more pieces of data, I just want to say that as far as Apple goes, Apple is kind of trading sideways between 190 and 180 as of right now. So we'll have to see how things end up going, and we'll see what ends up developing in the chart right now. So we'll wait and see. Right now, we'll watch and see if Apple ends up breaking 189 or not. Or if we break past 190, we could turn bullish. But right now, things remain bullish as is. So that being said, guys, the market is still holding up relatively well. I want to give you guys just a very quick update to talk about NIO and the others. And I just want to say I really appreciate every single one of you so much for listening. So please have a great day, guys. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. I'll see you guys very soon. The market could rebound a bit going into next week, and we'll see if we establish lower highs or not. But we'll see what happens with Jerome Powell's speech, and we'll see how this affects the markets. Thank you for listening, guys. I will not be posting tomorrow. I'll be back on Sunday. So until then, take care and peace out.